So today we're going to dive into a really fascinating tool from Google that honestly could completely change how you and I deal with our own information. It's called NotebookLM, and it's basically your own personal AI research assistant. But before we get into the tech, let's start with a problem that, well, I'm pretty sure we've all been there. You're working on a project, you're deep in the zone, and then you look up and you are just buried under this mountain of PDFs, a zillion browser tabs, notes everywhere. Sound familiar? It's that feeling, right? You have all the pieces of the puzzle right in front of you, but for the life of you, you can't see the big picture. You just know the answers are in there somewhere, but actually finding them feels, well, totally impossible. And look, this isn't just some problem for data scientists or academics. It happens to all of us. Whether you're planning a vacation, writing a work report, or even just trying to learn a new hobby online. We're all drowning in this sea of information, just trying to connect the dots. It can get pretty overwhelming. Okay, so this is exactly where NotebookLM steps in. The best way to think about it is, it's not a search engine for the entire web. It's a search engine for your world, for the specific documents and info that you give it. Now this is the really critical part, so listen up. NotebookLM grounds itself only in the sources you provide. What that means is, it's not going to go off and invent facts or pull random stuff from the internet. Its entire universe is what you upload. That makes it an incredibly focused and, more importantly, a factual assistant for whatever you're working on. And the whole thing is built around this super clean 3-panel layout. It's really simple. Over on the left, you've got your sources panel. Pretty straightforward. This is where you dump everything you want the AI to read and understand. Then, smack in the middle, you have the chat panel. And honestly, this is where the magic really starts to happen. You can ask it really complex questions, tell it to summarize a 20-page document, or even ask it to find hidden connections between two totally different sources. You're literally having a conversation with your own documents. And then, over on the right, you have the studio. This is where you see the payoff. After you've explored your info and asked your questions, the studio takes all those insights and turns them into brand new, seriously useful formats. And we are definitely going to look at those in just a second. And get this, the range of stuff you can throw in here as a source is, well, it's pretty wild. Of course, you've got your standard PDFs and text files, but you can also just drop in a web link, a Google Doc, and even YouTube videos and audio files. It turns into this one central hub for absolutely everything related to your project. Okay, so that's the theory, right? But how does this thing actually perform in the real world with something genuinely complicated? Let's put it to the test with a case study that really pushes it to its limits. So imagine you're a data analyst and someone just drops a massive, raw company database on your desk. Before you can even begin to figure out what's in it, you have to understand its structure, the metadata. And trust me, that stuff is dense, it's technical, and it is not a fun weekend read. So to get this super technical data ready for NotebookLM, there's a bit of a process. You capture the raw data, you run some analysis on it to see what you're dealing with, but here's the absolute key step. You generate a textual narrative. You basically turn all that code and all those numbers into a descriptive story that an AI can actually read and make sense of. And if you're sitting there thinking, what on earth is metadata anyway? This table makes it super clear. It's not the actual customer data, it's the data about the data. Things like, what's the database called? How many records are in this table? What's this column named? It's the blueprint, the map of the entire database. Okay, so we've taken that, let's be honest, kind of dry technical metadata, we've turned it into a story, and we've uploaded it as a source document. Now for the fun part. Let's head over to that studio panel and see what NotebookLM can build from this. The second that document is uploaded, the studio panel just lights up. It's already chewed through the entire document, understood it, and it's now ready to transform it into all these amazing formats instantly. And I mean, just look at these options. You can get a mind map to see the database structure visually. You can generate a full in-depth report summarizing everything. It can even create an audio or video overview for you to share. And for studying, it can whip up Q&A flashcards and multiple choice quizzes from your own material. It's a game changer. This is seriously powerful stuff. And the best part, you can actually get your hands on it and try it out. So let's quickly break down the plan so you know how you can get started. So there's a free version that honestly is super generous. You get up to 100 different notebooks with 50 sources in each. For most people just starting out, that is way more than enough. But if you're a heavy user, the Pro tier just cranks everything up, giving you 10 times the chat queries, 10 times the reports. It's built for serious professional work. Now, If you're a real power user like this is your job, NotebookLM Pro is actually part of the bigger Google AI subscriptions. These plans give you the absolute highest limits possible, plus access to other advanced AI models and a ton of cloud storage to go with it. So let's zoom out for example. What does all this actually mean? When you think about it, a tool like this is, well, it's a pretty fundamental shift. Whether you're a student writing a thesis, a lawyer going through case files, or a novelist outlining your next book, this really does change the entire game.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. We're moving away from this old static process of just reading and highlighting. Now it's a dynamic process of asking questions and interacting with your material. It turns the one-way street of just taking in information into a real two-way conversation.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. If all of your notes, all your research, all your data, if it could actually talk back to you, what hidden connections, what surprising insights would it reveal? What would you ask it?